The church smelled of damp stone and lilies. A storm pressed against the stained glass windows, thunder rolling like distant gunfire. Guests whispered behind gloved hands, their words fluttering like moths in the heavy silence. Black coats, veiled faces, the shuffle of uneasy feet. The air carried the weight of judgment, though no one dared say it aloud. Sophia sat in the front pew, motionless. Her pale hands clutched a handkerchief, though no tears stained it. She leaned forward, eyes fixed on the closed coffin draped in white roses. The organ hummed low, a sound too mournful, too deliberate, as if the church itself groaned under the burden of secrets. Her lips trembled, then moved in a whisper that only the closest mourners could catch. "But I still love him." Gasps rippled across the pews. Heads turned. A priest paused mid-prayer. To some, her words were grief, tragic, heartbreaking. To others, they were a confession. Love him? After everything? The storm cracked above, lightning flooding the church in white light. For a moment, Sophia's face appeared carved from marble, her eyes hollow, distant, haunted. She looked less like a widow and more like a survivor, or perhaps an accomplice, 3 years earlier. The summer sun painted JubileeHills golden. Sophia Caldwell, then 27, had the kind of beauty that unsettled people. Fragile, porcelain skin offset by a gaze that burned with restless curiosity. She worked at the local art gallery, cataloguing exhibits, lost in brushstrokes and history. She dreamed of escape, New York, Paris, anywhere but this small town that clung to her like ivy. That was when she met Tom Harlow. Tom had returned from Boston, where he worked in finance. At 32, he carried himself with the confidence of a man who had seen the world and decided it belonged to him. Broad-shouldered, neatly groomed, he wore tailored suits that made even the dullest coffee shop shimmer with importance when he entered. Their first meeting was accidental, or so Sophia thought. She spilled her iced coffee in the gallery courtyard. He caught her wrist before the cup hit the ground. His smile was charming, calculated, the kind that disarmed. "I believe that's mine," he joked, holding her hand longer than necessary. Within weeks, they were inseparable. Tom pursued her with an intensity that felt intoxicating. Flowers arriving at her door, late-night drives under street lamps, whispered promises of a life she never dared to imagine. He saw her not as a gallery assistant, but as someone destined for more. "I want to take you away from all this," he'd said one night, his hand brushing her cheek as cicadas buzzed in the humid dark. "You belong somewhere bigger." She believed him. Against her better judgment, she let herself be consumed. Yet, even in the glow of new love, shadows stirred. Tom's affection came in waves, sometimes overwhelming, other times withheld like a punishment. He asked where she'd been, who she'd spoken to, why she hadn't answered his calls within minutes. When she tried to laugh it off, his jaw would tighten, his eyes flickering with something colder. "You don't know how men look at you," he'd say. "I have to protect what's mine." Sophia told herself it was passion, not control. She ignored the warnings in her gut, the way her friends grew quiet when Tom entered a room, or how her best friend Rachel once whispered, "Be careful, Soph. He watches you too closely." Still, Tom had a way of making her feel chosen. Every doubt was buried under candlelit dinners, diamond earrings, and plans for a future written like scripture. He proposed in front of the gallery's most famous painting, a stormy seascape that seemed almost prophetic. She said yes through trembling lips, half from love, half from fear of losing him. That night, the storm outside mirrored the storm in her chest. The first crack appeared on a winter evening, 6 months before the wedding. Sophia attended a charity gala in the city, while Tom was away on business. The ballroom shimmered with chandeliers, violins filling the air with bittersweet notes. There she met Adrian Hale, a photographer whose reputation preceded him, eccentric, alluring, dangerous in the way artists often are. Adrian was everything Tom was not. Unguarded, unpredictable, his conversations sparking with raw intensity. He studied Sophia not as an ornament, but as a mystery. When she laughed at his dry remark about the donor's hypocrisy, he leaned closer, his voice like smoke. "You don't belong in cages, Sophia. Someone like you, you're made to run wild." The words pierced her. For the first time in years, she felt seen. It began innocently. Messages, coffee meetings, long walks under dim streetlights. But Adrian's presence awakened something Tom had carefully subdued. Independence, hunger, danger. And with it, guilt. Every time she returned home, Tom's gaze searched her like an interrogation light. He noticed her distracted silences, her sudden laughter at unseen memories. "Who is he?" Tom asked one night, his voice sharp as broken glass. "No one," she lied, her heart pounding. But Tom wasn't convinced. He never was. The weeks that followed became a performance. Sophia balanced between two worlds, Tom's meticulous control and Adrian's intoxicating chaos. Every excuse was a thread in a web she could no longer untangle. Tom's protectiveness grew darker. He checked her phone when she slept, questioned her colleagues, even appeared outside the gallery unannounced. "You're mine, Sophia," he warned, his smile brittle. "Don't forget that." Meanwhile, Adrian pressed closer, his obsession as dangerous as Tom's. "Leave him," Adrian urged, gripping her wrist in the shadow of an alley. "He'll destroy you. Come with me before it's too late." The ticking clock of her wedding loomed. Each day a tightening noose. The engagement ring on her finger felt less like a promise and more like a shackle. And then, one night, Sophia discovered something that shattered the illusion entirely. She found it in Tom's study, a drawer he'd locked but carelessly left the key behind. Inside, photographs, not of her, but of other women. Some candid, taken from a distance. Some blurred, almost frantic. Their faces were unfamiliar, but their eyes told the same story. Fear, confusion, violation. Her breath caught. She flipped through them, her pulse roaring. At the bottom of the stack lay a newspaper clipping. Missing woman, found dead, case still open. Her hands shook so violently she nearly dropped it. Who was Tom, really? The front door creaked. His footsteps echoed down the hall. Sophia shoved the photos back into the drawer, slamming it shut just as Tom entered. He watched her with that same unsettling stillness, his eyes sharp as knives. "What are you doing in here?" he asked. She forced a smile, her voice brittle. "Waiting for you." But inside, her world had splintered. That night, she lay awake, listening to his breathing beside her. Each inhale, each exhale, a reminder of the danger inches away. She replayed the photographs in her mind, the dead woman's face haunting her. She thought of Adrian's words, "He'll destroy you," and for the first time she believed them. The storm outside cracked against the window, the same storm that had followed her since the night of his proposal. Sophia rose quietly, her bare feet silent on the hardwood floor. She moved toward the drawer, toward the evidence, her heart thundering. But when she opened it, the photographs were gone. Only a single note remained, written in Tom's neat hand. "I know about him." The storm had not relented. 3 days after Tom Harlow's funeral, JubileeHills remained cloaked in grey. The rain blurred the streets into oil-painted smears, church bells echoed like dirges, and the town whispered with feverish hunger. Sophia sat in her kitchen, staring at the untouched glass of wine before her. The house, Tom's house, now hers, felt cavernous. Every wall hummed with memory. The mahogany table he'd chosen, the Persian rug she never liked, the perfectly arranged bookshelf. Each item bore his control. Now it was all hers, yet she felt caged. Outside, a black sedan idled, engine rumbling softly. Detective James Kerrigan leaned against the hood, his trench coat soaked, cigarette glowing faintly in the gloom. He'd been watching her since the burial. Inside, Sophia's phone vibrated. A message. Unknown number. He isn't gone. Not really. Her blood ran cold. The police suspected her. Everyone did. Tom hadn't simply died. He had fallen. The official story said it was an accident, a late-night drive, slick roads, his car veering off the embankment. But Kerrigan wasn't convinced. Neither was the town. At the gallery, whispers followed her. Didn't you hear? She had another man. At the market, she never cried at the funeral. At home, the silence screamed louder than any voice. That night, Sophia pulled the note from her drawer, the one Tom had left before his death. I know about him. Her fingers shook as she unfolded it again, tracing the sharp letters. It wasn't just suspicion, it was accusation. Proof that he knew about Adrian. She remembered Adrian's last words before Tom's accident. One way or another, he'll be out of the way. Then we can finally be free. Was it coincidence or confession? Adrian appeared again as if summoned by guilt. He came to her door at midnight, soaked from the rain, eyes burning. They'll come for you, he said, pushing past her, dripping water onto the Persian rug Tom loved. You think Kerrigan doesn't know? He's circling like a wolf. Sophia backed away. Adrian, what did you do? His laugh was soft, bitter. What you couldn't. What you wouldn't. Her chest tightened. Tell me it wasn't you. Adrian's eyes lingered on her face, then dropped to the floor. You wanted him gone. I just finished the story you started. No, she whispered. No, Adrian. That's not true. But the memory of the photographs in Tom's drawer came rushing back. The missing women, the dead girl. Was Adrian her savior or her executioner? Detective Kerrigan visited the next morning. His presence filled the house like smoke. Funny thing about Tom's accident, he said, his voice calm, almost conversational. The brakes on his car were tampered with. Clean job. Professional. Not the kind of thing a man does to himself. Sophia froze. Are you saying murder? I'm saying motive, Kerrigan replied, his eyes narrowing. Marriage. Money. Another man. Seems like plenty of reasons. Her pulse hammered. Did he know about Adrian? Did Adrian want him to know? That night, she dreamt of Tom's face, cold, pale, his lips forming words she couldn't hear. She woke gasping, drenched in sweat. The clock ticked beside her, relentless, every second louder, a countdown she couldn't escape. Days blurred. Sophia spiraled deeper into paranoia. She found a hidden box in the attic, tucked beneath insulation. Inside, more photographs, not just of strangers, this time of her. Sophia walking to work, Sophia in the gallery, Sophia asleep through her bedroom window. Tom had been watching her all along. And among the photographs lay something worse, a USB drive. Hands trembling, she plugged it into her laptop. Video files, grainy footage of women, conversations, screams. Tom's voice, calm, commanding. Her stomach heaved. The man she had promised to marry, the man buried with roses and hymns, had been a predator. But if Tom was the monster, what did that make Adrian, who claimed to love her, yet might have killed him? Detective Kerrigan wasn't waiting. A warrant was coming. Sophia could feel it. The funeral hadn't closed the case. It had opened it. Adrian called her from a burner phone. We need to disappear, tonight, before Kerrigan ties this to us. Us? Her voice cracked. This was your plan, not mine. You think he wouldn't have killed you eventually? Adrian's fury spilled through the line. I saved you, Sophia. I saved you. And you still doubt me. Her heart pounded. She realized then, Adrian wasn't her escape. He was another cage. And the clock was ticking. The confrontation came on the eve of her interrogation. Adrian broke into her house, wild-eyed, desperate. We can still make it out, he said. gripping her arms hard enough to bruise. "Pack your things. We'll drive until the road runs out." Sophia stared at him, realization dawning. Tom, Adrian. It didn't matter. Both wanted possession, not love. Both had trapped her in their obsessions. She whispered, "You killed him." Adrian's jaw clenched. "For us." Her gaze shifted to the kitchen counter. A knife gleamed in the dim light. The storm raged outside as she reached for it. The struggle was swift, brutal. His scream cut through the night before silence swallowed it whole. Blood pooled across the rug, staining the pattern Tom had once praised. When it was over, Sophia stood trembling, the knife clattering from her hand. 2 men, 2 cages, 2 graves. The funeral had been only the beginning. Weeks later, the town buzzed with scandal. First Tom's death, now Adrian's sudden disappearance. Sophia played her role perfectly. Grieving fiancé, devastated lover. Kerrigan circled, but with no evidence, no confession. All he had were suspicions. One evening, as the sun bled red across the horizon, Sophia returned to the church. She stood before Tom's coffin, her reflection fractured in the stained glass. Whispers filled her ears, his, Adrian's, her own doubts. But she silenced them with a smile. "I still love you," she whispered, placing her hand on the cold wood. Behind her, Kerrigan watched silently from the shadows. The storm had passed, but the air still smelled of rain. And in Jubilee Hills, nothing stayed buried forever.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the Crimson Motives channel for more thrilling stories.